Welcome, and thank you for joining us tonight on Biology Weekly. We have a good one in store for you today, as our focus will be on survival of the fittest. Now, this is a very famous phrase, a phrase that more often than not gets misunderstood and misused. Specifically, recently, I overheard someone referring to survival of the fittest in regards to the millions who have died of COVID. That's not only wrong, but quite frankly, an inhumane way to view the world. So today, we're going to take a deep dive on what exactly survival of the fittest means and what it doesn't mean. To truly understand the phrase, we have to go back to where it all started. Although often thought to be from Charles Darwin and his work on the theory of evolution, it actually originally was used by the English scientist named Herbert Spencer in 1864. Spencer was a biologist in his own right and had very similar views as Darwin. In fact, he first used those exact words after reading Darwin's work on the origin of species. He thought survival of the fittest better captured the message than Darwin's own phrase of natural selection, as natural selection made it sound like it was someone's choice who survived, as if there was some subjectivity to it. To Darwin's own credit, he agreed and started using the phrase himself, and that is what most likely is the cause of the confusion in regards to its origin. So that takes us to today, where evolution is almost unanimously viewed as a scientific fact, because, well, it is. But the phrase survival of the fittest is almost entirely extinct from modern biology papers and published works. In fact, scientists will often go way out of their way to use any term other than survival of the fittest. And that is in part because of the image that pops up in your head when you hear it. At least for me, I've always thought of survival of the fittest as the strongest, the fastest, the meanest. And you may think, of course that is. The deer that runs the fastest will outrun the lion. He'll survive, or she'll survive. And the strongest hippo will outmuscle the other animals for the best spot in the water. That may make sense in passing, but it's only one small part of the truth. We have to look at what the word fittest actually means. And it doesn't mean fit as in physically fit. Like we said, the strongest, the meanest, the fastest. Fitness is actually a scientific word that's used to describe the reproductive success of either an individual or a species. So fitness is a measure of one's ability to have children, and for those children to reach maturity and have children of their own. So the fastest deer, the strongest hippo, and the meanest wolverine may have the advantage during the day, but in the long term, their fitness may actually have more to do with their ability to find a mate and to reproduce. Fitness requires two big things. The first is survival, the ability to find food, water, shelter. If one dies before maturity, then they will not produce any offspring, and therefore will not be fit. Being fastest, strongest, meanest may be true for some animals, but to a lesser degree others, especially humans. You don't have to be the fastest deer to escape from a tiger. You just can't be the slowest one. The other one has to do with your ability to find a mate. There are a wide variety of different things that can affect this. Just like courtship and dating rituals and humans can be complex and difficult to understand, it's the same for animals. Take this peacock spider here on the left, for example. It's showing its bright colors and performs a dance that helps it get its mate. Similarly, the peacock produces bright colors as well. For some birds, like the Japanese bush warbler, they sing songs to help them attract mates. So how about in humans? What makes humans the fittest? The physical characteristics that we're attracted to seem to change on the daily. Look at the hairstyles from the 80s and 70s. Look at the clothes your parents wore to school versus what you wear to school. There's definitely a lesser need to be stronger and fittest in today's society because of our modern technology. We have planes, trains, and automobiles. And we don't have any natural predators. Most species on Earth spend the majority of their day looking for food. We get our food from the grocery store or our gardens, and even those of us that have to hunt rely more on tools such as weapons and maps and setting traps than in our physical prowess. So what is it that makes us fit? And there are many theories, but my two-bit, and this is just for me and this is what I believe is true, is it's our ability to be care, our kindness, our compassion, our ability to come together and build communities and societies that make us fit. Empathy, our ability to understand the struggles of others. We come together and help each other, and that helps our survival as a species. Think of our COVID response right now. Something as simple as putting on a mask that has the potential to save so many lives. There are people who designed the masks. There are people who got the supplies to build the masks. There are people who physically built the masks. There are people who take those built masks and they distribute them. And it's also that people that work at the grocery store can wear them, and they have a better chance of survival. And the farmers who make the food have a better chance of survival. And that increases all of our access to food and increases all of our chances of survival. And that same thing goes for vaccines and hand sanitizer and everything. And not one person in that supply chain is better than the other one. They all just have different jobs, and they're all needed for humanity to be fit. We couldn't survive without any one of those people. Our survival as a species depends on our fitness, or our ability to create offspring that in turn have their own offspring. And all of this depends on our ability to care about each other, to empathize with each other, and above all else, help each other. People who don't hurt our fitness as a species. For those who think they can write off millions of lives and COVID is nothing more than a shoulder shrug and a little survival of the fittest, do not only have a complete disregard for human life, but also are not the fittest. They're just mean, and they hurt our species as a whole. If you want a good example of the fittest, take someone like Dr. Frederick Banting and his team who discovered how to use insulin to treat diabetes. They sold the patent for $1 so that it would be affordable and accessible to everybody and anybody who needed it. How many people are alive today because they did that? And not just those of us that suffer from diabetes, but those of us who are descendants of people who suffer from diabetes. For you individually, did your parents have diabetes? Did your grandparents suffer from diabetes? Dr. Banting's act of kindness may have very well improved your parents' and grandparents' fitness to the level where they are able to have you. For humans to survive, for humans, survival of the fittest isn't the meanest, the fastest, the strongest, or the richest. It's those of us who possess the most kindness, empathy, and compassion. And I'll get off my soapbox now, but help people when you can. It's the only way our species will survive. And that's all we have for tonight. Thank you for joining us. Please don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe, and share our content with your friends and family. Thank you. Have a good day.